Hi, my name is Elijah Yafi, and in this video we're going to be talking about the difference between a logically valid argument and a sound argument. To understand the difference between a logically valid argument and a sound argument, you have to understand what is an argument to begin with. An argument is a conclusion supported by premises that lead to the conclusion. So an example of an argument would be the conclusion being Joe Biden is a government employee. The premise one being the president of the United States means you're a government employee. Premise two being Joe Biden is the president of the United States. Therefore, the conclusion means Joe Biden is a government employee, which would give an example of. Now, to see if the argument is logically valid. To see if an argument is logically valid, the argument both premises of the argument has to be true to lead to the conclusion. In this case, the argument would be logically valid because as the president, you are employed by the United States government, and Joe Biden is the president. So in this case, the argument would be logically valid. Now we can see if this argument is sound. For an argument to be sound, the argument has to be logically valid, and everything in the argument has to be true, both premises and the conclusion. So in this case of the argument that I am using about Joe Biden being the president of the United States and being a government employee, the argument would be sound because you are a government employee when you work for the government, and Joe Biden is the current president, so that makes Joe Biden a government official. If the example of a non-sound argument would be Donald Trump is a government employee. So would be the conclusion. Premise one being the same premise as before. The president of the United States is a government employee. Premise two, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Conclusion, Donald Trump is a government employee. This is a logically valid argument because all the premises are true, then they lead to the conclusion, so logically valid. But it is not sound because currently Donald Trump is not the current president of the United States of America. So for an argument to be sound, it has to be one, logically valid, and everything has to be true to lead to the conclusion. And Donald Trump not being a president currently is not true. So the argument is not sound. Thank you for coming to watch my video on an argument, logically valid, and sound arguments.